hopefully don't get themselves killed today doing something like.
Right.
There's men and women who can do anything in their house, right?
You don't know what the right way is.
How quick before we'd be doing some wild shit? For sure.
For sure.
Oh shit, that's good stuff.
That's the first time that's ever happened. So,
Well,
if anybody's ever wondering, what I
me.
managed just to fucking do is we recorded the entire intro of our episode, and I didn't even push the record button. You know, win for the apprentices here.
Yes, podcast apprentices. Well, that's going to happen, man. At least we weren't that far in. That's something anyway.
Right. I'm happy I looked at it. Looked down. When you don't see the red light on your recording equipment, there's a problem, folks.
Yeah, there's a little button, REC. We're pretty sure it stands for record, but we lost the manual, so we're not.
Yeah, well.
Oh, fuck. Well, here we go. Welcome, everybody, to the I Shower Afterward podcast. Podcast for all things trades and trades related. John and I would like to thank you once again for listening to us at the job trailer here today. Of course, John is with me today. How are you, sir?
I am doing very, 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 very fine, sir. How are you doing?
Excellent, man. How was your week?
It's going all right. I can't really complain.
Yeah, we're a little earlier in the week than normal. Normally, John and I do these on Saturdays because then we got time. But we got a bad storm maybe coming this week, so we decided to jump the schedule a little.
We could be getting fucked real hard.
We've had such a fantastic winter as far as snow or lack thereof here goes in the Midwest. I know there are people who rely on it, etc. But for traveling, it's been real convenient. But it sounds like we might make up for it with a hellish 4 or 5 days here coming up. So I'll be curious by the time this comes out to see if it was really as bad as we thought.
Yeah, we'll see if they're... see if the weathermen are actually doing their jobs.
I like saying it fairly often, man. I don't think they could predict Tuesday on Monday afternoon, but that's just me being a cynic about weather forecasting.
Not here in the Midwest, they can't. Not a chance.
Dude, I think it's all over. It was the same thing back home.
Yeah. I did get a kick out of a picture that I saw about the weather, and somebody posted it online, and it was a picture of the entire, North America continent. It just said, yeah, so Mother Nature decided just to watercolor this week. And there was rain and snow and everything everywhere.
I suppose we're into that time of year, right?
All the pretty colors.
Yeah, all the pretty colors of that. Yeah, they, apparently their percentages of being right are pretty good. But they base it on historical stuff. And I don't get it, man.
Yeah, that's why they use the words like possibility and chance and percentage.
Yeah, mostly cloudy also means partially sunny. That seems squirrely, but yeah, here we go. That's a holdover from our last episode about conspiracy theories if this comes out in order. Man, I was working with a guy this week, dude, and I wanted to talk to you about something. It made me think of something we should talk about this week. So he's putting together what should have been a fairly high-end dishwasher for this high-end grocery store we do a lot of work for.
Sure.
He had a leak around the water inlet for the cold water on this new fancy sink dishwasher slide through mechanical. Whatever made this company's or this kitchen easier to put all the dishes on something runs right through the machine. You know what I mean?
A commercial dishwasher.
But yes, for
with the sliding side doors.
Yeah, but they're pretty swanky now. It had lights in it for sanitizing things. And,
sure.
You know what I mean? So I'm hooking up one of these. But anyway, so that guy's hooking the water up to this thing. He's chasing a leak for 20 minutes. I'm waiting for him to finish this so we can start this thing up so I can be done with this job and move on to the next fucking thing, right?
Right.
After chasing it for 20 minutes, he put duct tape around the goddamn thing. This is a professional operation. This wasn't Bob that they hired out of the phone book. This was a professional operation. I watched a professional put duct tape on something just to get it started. I mean...
Okay, so it was temporary. He wasn't going to leave it that way.
All I know is it was there when I left. He was still there. I don't know if he was planning to go back and fix it or whether that was his solution. And it made me think, man, duct tape. Is there anything it can't do?
Yeah, that.
So we all know, and the episode, don't worry, folks, the episode isn't about duct tape. The episode we were thinking about today was just the hacks you've seen over the years, making the job work for one reason or another.
The stuff that you've had to do.
And the stuff maybe you personally have to do just to get the job done sometimes. You've obviously seen some of this, John. I mean, tell me about sometime you saw somebody just make it work, for lack of a better word.
Oh, God. It's so funny because when you start thinking about stuff like that, you and I have combined over 35 plus years
That's right.
of experience, right? And so at a point, you see something and it doesn't even trigger as in, oh, that's super hackish. It's just like, oh, that's temporary. They'll fix that later.
Oh, so you're willing to, when you see that stuff, you just justify as that's what needed to be done in the moment, right?
Just to get by for a hot second, right? Now, have I done anything like that? I can neither confirm nor deny.
Right.
But yes, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I've had to.
We've all occasionally cut a corner. If you can tell yourself honestly looking in the mirror that you've never cut a corner, you're a better man than I.
Yeah.
Or woman,
and
as the
you're
case may be. Yeah.
And you're lying.
And you're fucking lying, probably, yes. At least to yourself, if not others.
Right. And I guess, the craziest, hackiest thing that I've ever done that just I shouldn't have done, but I did it a lot.
Okay. I'm proud of you that you're going to give up one of yours right away. Go ahead.
I'll give up one of mine right away because it's fresh in my head. So, being a service tech, I had to do a bunch of house or residential panel change-outs.
Sure.
Right. And where I was at back in the day, we would just cut the service free on the power side.
Yeah, you've talked about this before. Yeah.
Right.
It gave me anxiety the last time you mentioned this. Go ahead.
Right. So the hackiest thing there is I still needed power to do my job. So I would tape up. You put about 3 wraps of tape, electrical tape around your knife, and then you strip out live wires from the power company that are not fused.
Unfused.
There's no way that, if you short out, then you're die. It's just the way that is. And that's the hackiest thing that I think I've ever done.
I don't know if that counts as hacky, man. It sounds R-worded to me, but what are you going to do? But as we've mentioned before, even in the last 10 or 15 years, it's changed how things were done. We used to do things different. I used to land panels live in residentials and for
all
sure.
the time.
Right? Yeah, it happened all the time. Yeah,
right.
Being safer electrically has changed a lot these last few years, and I assume most other trades have had something real similar.
Right.
In ways of just
I will say there is something that is done a lot in the electrical trade that I consider kind of hackish. And that's zip ties.
oh my God, I love zip ties. Are you crazy?
Zip ties are good for certain purposes. I've seen them taken to an extra level.
Oh, you've been on job sites I've been on. Great. Yeah. You saw my work after the fact. I love a zip tie.
Have you ever seen anybody put up main MC feeders on the bottom of bar joists with zip ties?
All right. So
That's the extreme I'm talking
I
about.
definitely would have done something like that. Yeah. That's a little inside baseball for electricians there. But in a broader scope, yes, we've all seen people just cut a corner.
Yep.
Right. I admit, I certainly have. One will probably dawn on me as I talk. I'm not saying this because I haven't done it a few times. I can't think of a specific instance right at the moment. I do recall doing something wrong with some can lights on a large grocery store new build that I hacked it in, and it turned out I was the one who got stuck fixing my own mistake, which I hadn't done it the first time. I wouldn't have been up there.
Right.
I do recall that happened, but I don't remember the details of how I hacked it in. But I certainly, as we all have, I'm sure, done some hacky stuff over the years. And if you've not only been in construction for a lot of years, but I myself, if you've traveled at all to other places, especially, not third world or whatever, but even Mexico or the Dominican Republic. Like as a Canadian, I was able to go to Cuba.
Right.
You know what I mean? Same way you guys could go to the DR or go to Mexico. Man, I've seen some hacky shit down south too.
Yeah, look, is that just out of necessity or is that out of lack of training?
Well, that's the question, right? So
Right.
do these people understand what they're doing? And regardless of whether they're not just electrical, we know it's electrical because we're fucking electricians, right? But if you're a framer or you were a brick, like a bricklayer, you'd see the specifics of your trade. Right. Is it sometimes that you just can't get the proper material or tools to do the job in an area? Or is it, as you say, lack of education, formal education and experience, and they just know enough and hopefully don't get themselves killed today doing something like...
Right.
I've seen some wild shit down there. Seen some wild shit here too. I can think of and this would be years ago. I bet you my wife and I had just married, probably 15, 14 years ago. I watched two fellas run just independent electrical wires along this walkway out to this little courtyard. I started listening to the guys talk a little bit or whatever, and my understanding of listening to Spanish, I can pick up more than I understand saying the words or whatever. But basically, I figured out they were having a wedding out there and they needed power for lights or whatever, right?
Sure.
They literally just ran those two wires out there, went through, taped it up like every day, 10 feet, and then started tucking it under the wood chips around all the landscaping all the way. It was like 300 feet.
No.
Yeah, for people who aren't electrical, crazy dangerous. Like
Oh
if it
my
rained
God.
or there's a nick of the wire, something like crazy dangerous. But again, was it just out of necessity? They probably didn't have the proper things they needed.
Right.
Which I think, in a way, sort of factors down to exactly what we deal with on the like day-to-day basis.
Right.
It's except not lack of experience in education, but lack of time or perceived time.
Right.
I got to get this done. No, I can cut. No, I don't really need to do that. Nobody's going to catch that. People
Right.
do that stuff, right?
All the time.
You got to factor in that they don't do it, hopefully, in the thing that causes any sort of structural or safety or something issue, right?
Right.
But people are certainly known to do that stuff. But I would have to think that for professional tradespeople, it's pretty limited.
I'm forced to hope that way, but I think with the demands of the market as it is right now and the demands and the lack of labor force, I think has a lot to do with that. I think it's a deeper conversation on that aspect because we are forced to do more in a shorter period of time than what we have ever been.
Right. Take all comers because we just need to get it done.
Right.
Well, do we want to be in that race, buddy? Where are we going to sacrifice quality because of time and education to get the job done, to get the bids, to make the money?
Look,
It's a slippery slope. That was always a good distinction between professionals and non-professionals. For some people, that would have been the distinction in their head between union and non-union, although I think there's plenty of
think it
union shops
doesn't
doing
matter.
great. Yeah, I don't think that's the case at all, but that was a belief at one point.
100%. I think it has the worst saying that I've ever heard on the job site from a person in leadership was just get it done quick and dirty. I just can't. I can't. Like, I'm sorry, but if you want it done quick and dirty, find somebody else.
Also, if I could play devil's advocate real quick for that, I'm sure lots of people trade-wide, not just us, can agree that with experience, you do know the parts of a job where you could cut a corner or slam something in.
Right.
Or with experience, you know what doesn't need to be so detailed, what you don't need to watch just as clearly. It's not probably going to be an issue. Like, that's part of having experience in your trade, right?
Right. For sure.
That's all I think about too. Like, I'm not trying to justify people cutting corners or anything, but we're aware of the fact that it happens. You know, duct tape gets used to fix stuff all the time.
Right.
Our not theoretical, but our metaphorical duct tape in this case, whatever you're using to hack your job together that day.
Right.
In service, certainly, I try to do that as limited as possible. But I mean, for all the people out there working service, any of the trades, you got your van or you got your truck and you're kind of on site, and yeah, you can go get parts, but if you can make it get done with what you got, sometimes you're not hacking something together, but you're making do with what you've got on hand. And that's a fuzzy line to draw between, well, were you making do with what you had on hand, or are you hack?
Yeah. I mean, I think I look at it as when it comes to being a hack, is you're doing something completely out of norm. Like, say, oh, how do I even reference this?
You know it's wrong.
You know 100% that you can go get the right shit and do this, but you're choosing, and it has to be way off, because that's a gray area. Because being an electrician, because I was service, there's a lot of things that will work the same, but not what is actually supposed to be there.
Okay, yeah, I
Right.
I understand what you're saying completely. I totally agree.
And
right?
maybe other people don't. Hopefully people can follow that idea. It doesn't have to be perfect. It has to work. Right.
right.
And there are 1,000 ways to skin a cat. I mean, it's just, we don't skin cats. Jesus, calm down.
Hey, you said the same thing last time. Don't worry, people know you're just saying it. It's okay.
But I think when it comes into like direct code violations, life safety problems, structural, like you said, structural problem, anything that could possibly cause a massive issue, and you do it anyway, knowing full well that you did it, that defines a hack for me.
Okay, that's kind of where I was trying to figure out where our line would be when we talked about it. So you either know enough to know that that could be a major problem, whether it's maybe even if it's just not safety. It could be anything. You know that's going to cause them trouble with their heating and air conditioning down the road, or you cut some sort of corner, right?
Yep.
It might not be that electrical thing is probably going to have problems going forward.
Oh, you kind of nicked the plumbing pipe, but you didn't go all the way through. But
Okay.
you know that's going to.
That's probably going to be a problem later. Okay, so either you have enough knowledge to know that, or you're completely lack of knowledge. You don't even know that what you just did or didn't do properly was going to be a problem. So anybody on that side, we're going to call that's a hack.
I think if you're uneducated, if you're
Being
gonna
uneducated about it is the same thing as knowing better and not doing it.
apprentices don't know.
Yeah, but we don't put them in the positions to make those sort of decisions. Although I have hacked things in as an apprentice and learned later on I shouldn't have done that. Yes, but that's
Right.
part of the learning experience. That's why you take
Right.
on more complicated parts as you're an apprentice in any trade
Right.
to figure this out, to make these mistakes.
And I think if you honestly don't know, if you're an apprentice and you don't know where that line is, I think that's one thing. But if you are a professional and you're trained and you know better, that's what I call hack.
Okay.
If you have the intelligence to be like, no, I really shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, that right there.
Well, and see, that's why I mentioned what I said, not to beat a dead horse here, but also the people who know that they don't understand this and still do it. That's why I include
Oh,
them.
yeah.
That's why I said
Yeah.
it that way, right?
If you're
Someone who's not trained in any way and doesn't have any experience or knowledge or anything and still goes ahead and gives it a shot
Yep.
knowingly, that
Yeah.
in my mind, that's also a hack.
Yep. And a lot of homeowners are that way,
Well, sure they are.
right?
Look, in the age of YouTube, man, YouTube University, right? Why wouldn't you? We are fortunate enough just through how our careers have gone that we're in the trades.
Right.
So we have a varying knowledge and we're more likely to do our construction stuff. And we have learned over the years through a varying number of job sites and experiences and weather and tools and materials to not make a lot of the common mistakes a homeowner will make, because the 5-minute YouTube video that explains how to put your dishwasher in doesn't talk about all the other things you could have done,
Right.
right? You think you learn those lessons the hard way. Well, we learned those on job sites.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
it's so by that notion is the average homeowner, not people who are there's obviously people who are super handy, right? There's men and women who can do anything in their house, right?
Yep.
But the average person who didn't know nothing, looked it up 3 or 4 videos on YouTube on Saturday morning, and then decided to take on a project they probably should have. Do they count as hacks? Because they're also doing the same uneducated, but should have known better. I'm going to give it a shot. Or are they doing the right thing by trying to learn a skill themselves? We can't hate homeowners doing it, even if it takes money out of our pocket, because we're
Right.
supposed to be behind people learning the skills for.
Right. No, I think if a homeowner has an honest to God want to actually learn what they're doing, and they take the time, and maybe that's the deal, right? If you take the time to try to educate yourself a little bit, like you said, 3-4 videos can teach you a lot,
Right.
right?
No, it can teach you a lot what to do, but not very often what not to do. Sometimes that's included in those, right?
Yeah. And
But anyway,
hopefully,
continue.
hopefully you're getting fed good information, right? Because let's face it, the internet is a fucking dumpster fire full of bullshit.
We have talked, buddy. We
Right.
have talked.
So hopefully you're getting good information. And no, I wouldn't consider, if a homeowner does something and it goes bad, well, they can potentially cause some serious issues to their house,
Sure.
right? Fire, flood,
Yeah.
pumping CO2 into your bedrooms when you don't want to.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
People make mistakes, right?
Right. So I think there is a fine line there, and I don't think it's for me to decide who's a hack and who's not, but I can speak as a professional level and people on a professional job site being hacks.
All right. So that's what I was wondering. I was trying to set up who we were talking about here because I didn't want to alienate anybody that we didn't mean it.
I'm going to keep it to the professional side.
All right. So you think a homeowner giving it a shot, they get a pass because it's a homeowner giving it a shot.
It's their fucking house.
Okay, I agree with what you're saying. I was just trying to not poison your perspective with my perspective. I agree entirely. I think they get a pass too. Good for you. Get after it.
It took a lot to get there. Sorry, that was like 15 minutes of
that's
blabbering.
right. But, well, the thing is, and that's why I bring it up, because anybody who listens who's not in the trades and is a homeowner, because there are a few people I know personally who are listening that aren't even in the trades or just for some reason enjoying us talk, which God love you. They need to know that too. Give it a shot sometimes.
Yeah, try.
But just so you know, the material that you put in before you try it, if it does go squirrely on you, that's all wasted time and money.
Right. And understand the hazards that you're getting into by doing your own shit.
Yes. And occasionally, if you know somebody pretty good, don't be embarrassed to call up a professional who's in the trade of what you're trying to do. Fess up and go, look, I'm trying to take care of this myself. Can I ask you a couple of questions? I know it's a shitty phone call to make. Just make it. We'll answer. If we're friends with you, we'll tell you what to do.
Right.
It's okay. I know it feels weird making that phone call. Don't feel bad. Just call. Like,
Right.
if it's every week, I ain't going to be happy about it. But, you know, if
Right.
you got a question, I can help you out. I'm willing to help you out. Like, it's okay. I didn't want to go over to your place and install it anyway. So it's cool,
for sure.
right? So, well, yeah, we're at that note. Yeah, it's, I only brought it up because like I said, I saw that guy with the duct tape dude, and it made me start to think of some of the things that I had seen over the years, things that I thought about doing, and then like, no, I don't know, take another couple hours, do it the right way, you know?
Right.
We learned those experiences. I was down south with a group of friends quite a long time ago now, 3 or 4 couples, but we were all sitting in the hot tub in the Dominican Republic one night. Beautiful evening, sunset. I mean, it's early. Sun was still up, right? But we're having a great time, and one of the people who worked on staff comes over, and in their unfortunate broken English, still better than my Spanish, by the way. Sorry, we have to shut the hot tubs down before it gets dark, so everybody makes sure they're out before it gets dark. They want people slipping or hurting themselves or whatever, right?
Yep.
So we're like, all right, we weren't happy about it. One of the guys we were with made a few jokes. He was kind of a bit pissed off about it. But like, all right, we'll get out of the hot tub. That's fine. You're just doing your job. And as I'm getting out, I happen to look over, and the guy had pulled the panel off the hot tub and was taking wire nuts off the feed that ran the hot tub, which, by the way, folks, ain't exactly low power. And then just putting the wire nut back on that. And the next day when they turned those back on, that guy had to come and hook all that. They couldn't afford or didn't have access to or didn't have the knowledge of just putting in a switch. Something that you can get one here,
There's
folks.
supposed to be a disconnect.
That's here. Now see, this was what I'm getting at, okay? Yes, I'm talking about the Dominican Republic, dude, and you're thinking about our electrical
NEC.
code,
Yeah,
right?
National Electric. Yeah.
And that's what it falls down into is code
other
versus
world.
right. It's another world, right? Code versus cost, code versus availability. Code. I would assume that you or I or any of the 100 best electricians we know, as far as just being reasonably intelligent, we'd be the fucking minister of electricity in most of those countries. Like it's not great down there. We've seen it, right?
Right.
But that was just that example
That is
always
crazy.
It's crazy. Not to mention the fact, like I said, folks, that's a way higher voltage that runs the motors for those, and that's not an issue if you're reasonably careful and you don't touch anything, obviously, right? But it's a hot tub. The guy's standing in water near whatever got splashed over the side. Like, it's electrically a really bad deal.
That is a bad situation.
For what, for us, would be a $10 switch that could handle that you could put in 5 minutes and click off. Like, we even have ones with keys. But that's the sort of thing I was saying that we often think about it from our perspective. You said disconnect, because that's what we do here for safety. But safety down there, no, it's get the job done.
Right.
Now, we could think about it for hours about why it is that way. I suspect it's a combination of everything. availability thing. So Dominican's an island, obviously, just like say Cuba
Yep.
or whatever, right?
Yep.
So the availability isn't as big, which obviously drives costs up.
Yeah.
I mean,
The lack of professional workers.
the just didn't have the opportunity to learn their skill over a number of years like lots of us do through an apprenticeship, right?
Yep.
Went out and found a job and, well, okay, this is what we do. And that's how the guy always did it, because all we have is
Right.
all we have is nails and 2x6s, so we build everything out of that because that's what we can get. And yeah, sometimes we use tree. That's what's going to happen in one of those places, right?
Right.
Yeah, we often try to compare our situation to theirs because if you really look at it, it's not the same at all.
No, it isn't. And I noticed that when I was down in Mexico, just walking around the downtown area by where we were at and just looking at things and noticing everything, not just electrically as an electrician, because that is the first thing that we point out is fucking lights
I
and shit
assume
like that. It's
every
just-
other trade looks
they're
up and
just like
goes,
that.
why do they do that like that? Like, I assume we all do
tile
that.
guys look at the tile and stuff, but I was looking at everything. And God, the stuff that I'm walking around the marina and there's cords strung out everywhere.
Right.
I'm like, dude, what? Like, that's no, that cord end's like almost in the freaking salty ocean water. Stop, you know? But I think you're right on the money with that is you know what you're taught. Right. And so historically, when you're not taught the quote unquote, and I use air quotes very liberal there, the right way, you don't know what the right way is. Right.
Well, then we fall back to something that we talked about quite a while ago. I'm going to guess it episode 4 or 5 maybe, when we talked about safety. I can't imagine outside the major cities where they're building actual big buildings in some of these other countries, right? I can't imagine OSHA's getting out to most of these sites checking on people very often. Like,
Nah,
I don't know.
probably not.
Maybe they really are, but it doesn't seem to me with the things they get away with in all formats of the trades that, I mean, I've seen some scaffolding that, like, I wouldn't send my worst enemy up on.
Dude,
You know, cranes that I don't know
Yeah.
nothing about cranes, but I mean, I understand physics, and watching them swing some loads around, like, whoa, you guys are taking a big chance in the wind today.
right.
I mean, it's got to be at the core of it. It must be a safety thing. They just must not have the oversight that keeps us from doing. Because we said before, it would be the Wild West without our safety people at our shop level and OSHA and job
the fear
soups.
of $1,000 fines.
Right, yeah. And, or the fear of getting injured or hurt or having someone else, like, you know, that keeps us honest. But I mean, if that wasn't there, how quick before we'd be doing some wild shit?
Oh, a lot.
And I think that's what these other countries are.
Right. The thing that I have a problem with the most is I see more and more out there of like the houses that are being built and the corners that are being cut. You've got brand new builders that are building houses that don't have truss plates where they need to. They installed broken trusses, roof trusses.
Gotta get the job done, man. Plywood will hold that on.
Yeah.
You see, that's
Yeah.
right. But that's the
Right.
unfortunate thing. That's those conversations right now.
Yep. And I seen one video, this guy, they Tyvek the house. And he's like, yeah, you want to see what they used for siding or used for sheeting on the house, outside the house? He put his knife through the Tyvek and it was just Tyvek right to the studs. He's like, this is what we're dealing with. And it's just like, and that was a U.S. house.
What I understand what you're saying. That's true. I mean, that's obviously
There's
that's
hack.
That's a hack, a gross example.
Right.
What I worry about is that race to the bottom when it comes to whether it's because they couldn't get the right material for whatever part of the project was, or they didn't want to pay the labor to do the extra, whatever their rationale was to cutting these certain corners,
Or just spreading the freaking profit margin.
or just trying to make more money, right? Irregardless of what it is, that makes all construction look bad and shitty.
It's not.
Yeah, so
Right.
you making a few bucks now has a bunch of us looking like terrible workers later. Like, you don't get yelled at if
Right.
something sucks. The inspector yells at me.
Yeah.
That's what I don't want to happen with this. I don't want this race to the bottom where we end up looking like the construction workers have started to do less of a job and don't care anymore.
Right.
When the fact remains is that we are and I know we were talking about hacks today, but where we're pushed into a direction where you have to cut some corners based on time or material or labor situations. But that's going to reflect on us. And I'm
because
I'm not excited about that. We're the face of the
We're the
construction
face.
industry.
Yeah. And there are some cases, and I think people need to understand that there are some cases that we are told to do what we're doing. Like, we don't get to pick what and how we're doing it. Even as me in a foreman position, there are times I don't get the choice. No, this is what you're installing. This is how you're doing it. Right? That happens. And I think people need to understand that when it's like you're talking that race to the bottom with the shittiest of shittiest hacks, that's usually not I'm going to say that's not the actual laborers on the ground doing it.
No, that's what I mean. Of course it's not, right? And I'm not even suggesting that anybody doing those things is necessarily a hack. A lot of us are put in positions sometimes where you need to make a sort of on the fly, get this done decision. Not even cutting a corner, but just maybe doing something in a way that if you had another day, it could be done
way
in
better.
a better way.
Way better. Right.
What you did was fine, but I mean, you probably should have done it like X, not Y.
Right.
But you didn't have the time to do X, so where you're getting Y.
Yep.
That doesn't make you a hack. Sometimes you got to get the job done with the time and materials and manpower that you have.
Right.
I just don't like the fact that it will fall on us as far as, well, we were the ones that did it. Yeah, but the extenuating circumstances don't get to stop a couple levels above us.
Right.
If we've had to adjust the way we've done things because of the circumstances, well, everybody's to blame for that.
Oh,
I didn't raise the cost of materials. I didn't raise the cost of, that's not on me. But again, since we're the faces on the ground, people like to blame the group that can defend itself the least. And these big companies sometimes can say, oh, well, I mean, we have to set the prices of material based on, the market and things like that.
Right.
Well, I shouldn't have to lower my labor costs just so it makes money.
Right.
That's not my fault, right?
Right.
That's
exactly.
that's kind of where I was at with the whole hack thing. I don't like that we've been put in the position where we've got to make some of these options. And again, I mean, it's not like we're hacking things together every other day. It's the fact that you sometimes have to make those decisions at all, or justify the fact that you're not going to do it.
Right.
When before it was, no, you do it the right way, and that's what we'll do.
Right.
Do it the way you said it should be done, the way we know it has to be done.
Yep.
The fact that it's even a question now, and unfortunately kind of needs to be,
Yep.
given the circumstances, I just don't like the position that it's got us in. And I want people out there who are going out there trying to do a good job every day within the codes that they're supposed to follow and how their company want things done and the quality of the work that they want to do every day. Listen, we understand that it's getting difficult sometimes right now, and we're all kind of rolling with the punches. John and I are here for you. We get it. It's
100%.
You don't want to be, there's some of us doing jobs in a certain way that we don't want to, just based on how things are going. And we're here for you.
And there's a lot of times that we don't have the ability to stand up. We don't have the ability to be like, no, I'm not doing it that way.
Well, you can sometimes, but just that once.
Right.
Right.
Right. And I think if everybody, I'd like to see that more, to be honest. I'd like to see everybody out there being like, no, this is how this needs to be done. We used to do it this way. This is the right way to do it. Let's bring that back. Let's bring some of that quality craftsmanship back.
That's it, man. The reminder of don't let the situation dictate the quality of work that you want to do.
Yep.
Yes, we're in a different world now as far as, costs and labor and things and that goes. But that doesn't mean, and John's absolutely right, that doesn't mean that you need to sacrifice how something should be done and being a quality craftsman or craftswoman or whatever. Yeah.
We take a lot of pride in our work as far as construction workers go.
We have to. And we got to take more pride because it's something that got lost over the years. We've talked a million times about the image of the construction worker, quote unquote, the dirty, filthy. No. We're we're keeping everything going, and don't feel bad if you feel like you're being put in the position where you've got to do more with less.
Right.
Do right while keeping your company happy, obviously.
You want to stay gainfully employed.
Yeah. Look, we're not saying pick it outside your company if they're not paying for everything you think they should, right?
Right.
But you can stand up for the amount of quality that you believe should go into the work of doing things correctly and nicely and professionally. So ours isn't as often about a visual thing. Sometimes our work has to look nice, but a lot of times ours is behind the scenes, behind the walls, underneath gear, right? But there's lots of trades out there who their finished product is very visual.
Yep.
Those are the people I'm talking to, really. Like, we understand it's tough, but John and I are here for you. We get that it's a problem. We've talked to quite a few people recently that this has been an issue for them. So we hear you. We're there for it. But if you don't mind, man, that was kind of a serious part. We usually don't do that in the podcast. Can I spin it back in another way real quick? There was something I wanted to ask you, because I know I'm a foreigner to this country.
Yeah.
But I know you're also from a different part of the country.
Yeah.
And after I learned you were from Wyoming, no G in the end there, I kind of started to learn a little bit. Like, oh, what's Wyoming famous for? Where's that in the country? I was just kind of looking into it. Now, we all know that it's duct tape. DUCT, as in air duct.
Yep. That's what the original use was.
That's what the original use was for. Yep. Okay. How do you pronounce that word?
Duct tape.
It's duct tape.
Duct tape.
Quack.
Okay.
I also...
Basically DUC, no K, but just duct.
Okay.
Duct tape.
Because it's inconvenient to add the T on the end? Because I find I find it real awkward, right?
If I have to sit there, duct
tape. Right? It's duct tape.
Yeah, okay. It's duct tape. Fuck it.
I've had some people be correct. I've had people correct me, right? You know it's duct. You know it's duct, right? Listen, you pretentious motherfucker. Like, okay.
Just like caulk. It is caulk. It's not caulk.
Right. Yeah. Now, again, there's one thing. If you're a Southerner, that makes it way easy. Those guys, go get me another tube of caulk over there. Like, that's easy for them to get out. Somebody from New Orleans or something, right? But no, it's caulk, right?
It's caulk.
Yeah, I always laugh about that stuff because that was one I wanted to ask you about. I didn't know if that was a foreigner thing or not. I knew what it was for even younger because people had mentioned that duck versus duck thing. But even we all back home all said duck.
Yeah, it's duct tape, man. Like, leave it alone.
It's a hassle to pronounce that T. Can we all agree duct tape is not duct tape? Like,
right.
I know that's a little side topic, but I was just curious about that.
Well, now let's be real specific now, right? Now there is actual duct tape. It is tin tape.
Oh,
for duct.
Yeah,
air ducts.
That's real clear. I'm not unaware of that. There is the stuff the actual professional tin bangers use. Yeah, right.
That's duct tape.
Right, yeah, nice tin or aluminum or whatever alloy they make it out of with the sticky on the other side. Totally different thing. We're talking about the rolls you get at Menards and shit, right?
You ask the tinner on the job site for some duct tape. They will hand you duct tape, not duct tape.
Right, yeah.
And they will look at you just to make sure that you said the one that you're saying.
Yeah, well, those guys can make the differentiation because they've dealt with it so much, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's true. Yeah, there's also that. I think that's it for today, buddy. Did you have anything else that I was missing? I just want to go off a little tangent about hacks and stuff. I'd seen some shit this week, so
I do want to touch on. Let's have a little fun with duct tape.
All right,
for a minute. All right. So one thing that I can guarantee you not to do. Do not do this with duct tape. Okay. Low voltage wires, TV or Cat 5 wire, phone, internet, or TV, coaxial for TV. Do not put duct tape on any of those wires. Don't. Duct tape is metallic and it will jack your signal. It will mess with the signal of those low voltage wires. Don't do it. I've had to fix that stuff before.
You saw somebody put duct tape on their cable wire?
Yeah. On the coax feed in their TV. They wrapped because they were the metal end wasn't getting real tight because they didn't know what they were doing.
Okay.
So they put duct tape on it. Well, when it is metallic tape, it is an actual metallic foil tape. It will just trash signal.
All right. So that's obviously we've mentioned before. John is our techie, so he's really passionate about this stuff, right? Right. I didn't realize something that similar. All I know is, man, it's the most useful. Listen, it's got to be the most useful form of tape there is.
It is, as long as you don't care about what it's on.
No, but I'm not even saying that. Think about this, okay? From our perspective, okay, we'll talk about electricians real quick. We'll wrap this whole thing up. We use duct tape for plenty of things that it was never intended for, and that's just our one trade.
Oh, for sure.
Look at all the people that use it for just
For random shit, right? Holding vehicles together.
right.
Airplanes.
Airplane.
100-mile-an-hour tape.
Wait, didn't they build one on that? What was it?
Mythbusters?
Mythbusters one. Didn't they build one with like fix a wing or whatever? Like duct tape's amazing shit, right?
Yeah,
we
they
could,
held up a car with it.
yeah, we can all agree duct tape is amazing stuff. But yeah, it's used way more
Yeah.
for what it was not intended for.
Oh, for sure.
We cover boxes in it before they pour concrete.
Yeah. We tie wires together with it to
Yes.
pull.
Yes, if my missus gets off on the rails, I mean, oh no, I'd never do anything like that. But wait, I thought about that. I just never did it. Right, that's illegal. Okay, fine.
Inside thought.
Right,
man.
inside thought came out there. That's right. Yeah, wanted to, never would. Just kidding, Daryl. Yeah, no, I mean, what would we do without it? Like, it's. I've used it so many times for
I have
shit.
so random shit.
I have never in mind, and we've already pointed out, folks, there is a difference between what we're talking about, the roll of duct tape that's just sort of a random material, and then what they'll actually use on air conditioning ducts, right? I've never once put a piece on an air conditioning duct of any kind.
Nope, never have.
Never.
Never have. I have used duct tape. The craziest thing I used duct tape for was to do paint lines on my car when I was spray painting my car when I was a kid.
You stuck duct tape to the paint job of your car?
Yeah.
How young were you, moron, at this point? 12?
No, I was saying, so my car was a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah, you've already mentioned you used duct tape to paint lines on it, which I assume when you said lines, you meant like racing stripes.
There are kind of lines everywhere.
Man, you are going to hear about this later. Continue.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you just stuck it on there and then just painted and made a straight line with it. Like, that's just how it worked.
What happened to all the goo when you took that off, buddy?
Well, if you do it fast enough, it doesn't leave any goo. So you stick it on there, paint, peel it off.
Not even
No
letting
goo.
your paint dry. Yeah, this was obviously a real high quality paint job going on this car. What kind of car was this? You should point this out.
It was a 77 Chevy Nova.
Man,
That
do you have a photo of the pre and post of you painting this thing?
No, I do have a picture of the
sad.
craziest paint job I had on it, though, somewhere.
We're going to try to find that and put that up on socials. All right. We've taken a spin down the rabbit hole here at the end.
Duct tape's fantastic.
Duct tape is fantastic is the end of the episode, I guess. Thank you, everybody, for listening at least one more week. John and I really do appreciate you. Again, check us out on all the socials. We mentioned them at the top, but please keep interacting with us on the voicemail text message 507-607. I saw that one's been... that's where we want to hear from everybody because we would like to start putting some of the voicemails and reading some of the text messages on air. So
That would be really, really cool.
yeah, feel free to not feel free. Please, we encourage you to interact with us there.
Even if you're just calling just to give us a bunch of shit, it doesn't matter.
Oh, a rant. Yeah, you didn't like one thing we said, great. You liked one thing we said, great. Like we
Right.
don't care. Yeah, anything you got, you want to talk shit. If it's funny, we'll put it on the air. I promise you.
Yep.
But unless I'm missing anything else, buddy.
You are not good, sir. Like I say, we want everybody to hit us up on all of our socials and rate, review, and subscribe. And don't forget that because it does help.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, it really
help.
does. Yeah, rate, review, and subscribe. Please do. It does help us out a lot. I know it sounds simple. It costs you nothing at all, and it really does help us. So we'd appreciate that.
And you can use all the foul language you want to.
Oh yeah, that stuff doesn't matter at all. Yeah, yes, write whatever you want as long as you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just FYI, we don't need 5 stars, but man, 5 stars are way better than 4.
Right. But I've had a blast talking about duct tape and hacks and everything.
I get.
It's been good,
I
man.
saw that hack this week. I'm like, holy Jesus, we've seen some shit over the years. So if you've out there have seen anything really interesting, let us know that too. We'd love to hear your hack stories. And until next time, John, what do I always tell the people?
Your work keeps the world working.
That is goddamn right. Thank you, everybody. Be safe out there. And John, cheers, buddy.
Cheers.